Where the hell my phone? Where the hell my phone? Where the hell my phone? Huh? How I'm supposed to get home? Where the hell my phone? Where the hell my phone? Where the hell my phone? Huh? How I'm supposed to get home? Okay, 2:15 and the lights come on. Where my phone? Looking around like where my phone? Looking where my homies went. Where the hell my homies went? Where the hell my homies went? How I'm supposed to get home? How I'm supposed to get...
How's that? Thank you, Thomas. How is that? I had my mic muted. So let me rewind about what I was saying. I was saying, thank you, good evening, everybody, for joining us today. Really this evening, it's 7 p.m. So I am so excited that you are here with us today to discuss an amazing topic. We have Marin Pinder, who was here last time. I'm trying to remember. It was about mental health that she was with us. So she was just like, yes, I would love to come in and discuss this topic with you. I'm so excited. I was just sharing it. So if I could get everybody to do the same thing, if you could go at the bottom of your screen, do a bunch of hearts right here, boom, 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 boom. And then if you could hit share and share it to your group, share it to your page. Remember, Sass and Science is only being streamed from the Sass and Science page and also from YouTube. So basically, those two places you either have to like, follow, subscribe, something if you want your weekly dose of moi right here. And who doesn't want a dose of me? I know my man did last night. Just saying. But how is everybody doing on this fine Monday? It just got finished pouring raining here. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and have my phone tethered just in case I lose power. I have a flashlight, so I could have done like a whole like spooky story thing because I do look better in the dark. And I was just like, oh, goodness gracious. So if we could, let's see, who do we have in here? We have Thomas Athan Jr. How are you, Thomas? How are you doing? Maximilian Marquez, a.k.a. Amanda Bone, one of these sisters of perpetual indulgence. Thomas Bland, hello, Thomas. How are you? And Joe Monin, have you worn your daddy hat? And has anybody wanted a taste of your banana? Tell me, how is that daddy hat going on your head? I just want to know how that banana hat is on your head. So, so how is everybody doing? Let's answer questions. Answer me. Answer me. I'm going to go. Do I need to go in Dom top realness here? Hey, girl. Hey, Max. All right. So now that I know that the comments are working and all that good stuff. So, we have some great news. Remember, below you can see the two links, Facebook at Sass and Science and also YouTube at Sass and Science. On Facebook, like and follow, and on YouTube, subscribe and like. The more you like, the more people see it and it gets seen, because we're discussing that we're afraid to talk about, honey. Okay, because we all know that I do not hold back. She's a little warm. And actually I had to take my tits out because it was so, like, seriously, I was sweating. I was like, they're coming out. So I was like, yeah. So if you watched last week's episode, that amazing, brilliant, beautiful bear head that I had was designed by foampartyhats.com. Again, if you go to foampartyhats.com and put in the code BEARONCE at checkout, you will receive 10% off, and it's only off of the first 20 orders. So head on over there. They have a ton of stuff. Like, it's amazing how many things that they can make out of foam. They're lightweight. They're not hot. I absolutely love them. So we are discussing, I think an extremely important topic. And the reason why is because, especially in today's world, where we are in social media land, like literally, we are in social media land. We sit there and we just get bombarded every single day with social media. I mean, seriously, how many times are you on social media every single day? You know, and we sit there and we don't realize this, but the average U.S. adult, as of 2020, the beginning of 2020, the average U.S. adult spends 38 minutes per day on Facebook. 16 to 24-year-olds spend a median of 3 hours a day on social media. 3 hours a day on social media. Internet users spend an average of 2 hours and 22 minutes per day on social networking in 2019. So we have actually had a rise of 30 minutes in this past, well, I'm sure it's more now with this lovely Miss Rona that's out there, but we've had a rise since 2019 of 30 minutes. The average daily spent on social in 2018 was 142 minutes. That says a lot. That says a lot. And especially right now, you know, breaking it down, what we're seeing is 50.1% of the time is spent on their mobile is on social media. So 50% of the time that you are on your social media, on your phone, on this, you know, if you have an iPhone, you know that these things cost like $1,000 or something like that. And then they break when the new one comes out, which I swear to God, Apple does that on purpose. But 50.1% of the time on your mobile is done using social media in 2020. Facebook is the most popular. The average is 2 hours and 24 minutes each day. YouTube is about 40 minutes per day. Users spend an average of 30 minutes per day on Snapchat. Instagram is 28 minutes. And Pinterest is 14.2. And then with our new fabulous TikTok, which, you know, everybody is sitting there doing the TikToks. I don't understand it. I love watching all of these videos. Michelle Bone Woods, the owner of Natural Bearded Empress, she says, that's my beautiful friend. Hey girl, hey. She says, she sends me videos all day and hilarious. Today I got one of this woman that was bent over talking about, if you guys remember, Eric Suarez of crewhealth.org, and I were talking about how to get vitamin D. And it was perineum sun exposure, which is basically where your butthole absorbs sun. And we were like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Because the actor that plays Thanos got second degree burn. He had blisters on his butthole from doing it for too long. But she'll send me stuff like that from TikTok, and it was this girl that was talking about how she was doing it. And it was just hilarious because there was kids in the background screaming. And I'm like, can you imagine all of a sudden being in the pool and turning around and seeing your mom's butthole in the air? Oh my God. So, I mean, seriously, I was sitting there painting and I was just like, oh God. So Maximilian says, what about Pornhub? Pornhub, I don't consider Pornhub social media. I consider that adult entertainment. So that's what we're gonna put that in the adult entertainment section and not social media. You know, but what we also don't realize too is that social media has made us actually attack ourselves. We have actually compared ourselves to people that we don't even know, because we're sitting there, and I've done this myself. I'm not going to lie. Trust me. I sit there and I see some of these people that are on Instagram, and I'm like, I don't understand why they're getting all of the accolades and they're getting all of the praises, because they do nothing for our community except they look gorgeous. I don't get it. I don't get it. And they give me nothing except for looking gorgeous. You know, and I can also say that I compared myself in the sense of I would sit there and I would be like, oh, you know, what makeup palette do they use? And they're talking about they're using some makeup palette that costs, you know, $85. And I'm like, well, bitch, I got $85 right now to spend on that. And then I would actually feel bad about myself because I'm like, well, obviously I'm not going to look like they do. Where it's not the palette, it's the art, it's the artist behind it that you're able to do. So when we compare ourselves, we are actually setting up for attacking. We are setting up for despair. And people don't realize how dangerous that is. When you fall into the compare and despair trap, you think everyone else is doing a better job than you are. You compare your own work to what you see in those perfectly curated posts on Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook. All of a sudden, you don't feel so great. Like, honestly, I want everybody to be 100% honest right now. How many times have you done that? I can tell you right now, today alone, I did that 3 times. Today alone, I was on social media, and 3 times I went, oh God, I want to look like that. Or, oh, why are they getting this? I saw a post the other day from somebody, and I'm not going to say their name, but I saw a post the other day from this beautiful, beautiful person that I have known in social media. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go in and I'm going to mute my messenger right now. Somewhere I can do mute conversation. There we go. Mute you for an hour just so you guys don't hear the boom, boom. I'm popular. But no, like I saw a post that they did the other day, and it was, those that work the hardest to make others happy are actually the saddest. And I replied to him and said, how about you redirect that in working hardest to make yourself happy, so that you're not sad. If you're sitting there and you're trying to help everybody because you think that you're going to get the praises and you're going to get this and that, honey, I'm going to tell you right now, the American race and the human race in general, we are selfish, entitled bitches. So unless you're really helping somebody, like they need help, I'm not saying, don't reach out, but don't stress yourself out to try to help them if you're just doing that to try to get on their good side. Because, honey, it's going to be failure. It's going to be failure, and you're going to be let down. Let's see. So Maximilian says he raises his hand that he's done that. Craig Lewis, hello, how are you? He says probably 10 times a day. Michaela says, yeah, we compared our worth as entertainers to images, not quality and inner value. So that triggers imposter syndrome for a lot of us, which is 100% correct. I'm not the most booked entertainer out there. I'm not. I don't have the weekly gig. I don't have the monthly gig. I honestly don't. But what I do have is the gigs that I do have, I have that are important to me because there's something about actually enjoying yourself, or it's something about spreading joy or just having a good time. And they may be far and few in between, but to me, that's good. And when I do get, monthly gigs, or if I have to travel to go do a gig, I am blessed. But by no way am I ever like, oh, this is mine. I always bring somebody with me. I'm like, they can't pay you, but you can get tips and I will put you in the show. Reason why is because I have been there. I have compared myself to others and I was despaired. I had compared myself to others and I let myself down because I let them get inside of my heads. Okay. Thomas says, I wish I was as sexy as my bearded queen on Sass and Science just one time. Thomas, honey, I'll come over, I'll paint you. And you're sexy to begin with, so don't even go there. But I'll come over, I'll paint you. Yes. I'm going to say boy because you are a genuine good person. Thank you so much. Kenneth, I love you too. But, so today's topic is compare and despair. We have entered into a society of social media. We have entered into a society where the kids today don't know how to actually physically speak to somebody unless it's like this, unless they're doing this. And when you do speak to them, they are extremely defensive. Suicide rates have skyrocketed because of social media. And the reason why, when you actually have a conversation with somebody and they feel attacked, is because 80%, it is literally documented somewhere. I had it written down. it is documented that 80% of social media posts that we see are negative or in an attacking, bullying form. So when you see somebody that is attacking somebody, and then you see somebody that's doing something good for somebody, we have been programmed to actually go to the person that's attacking somebody because we want to see the drama. We want to see what's going on. We want to see it. We want to engage. But what does that actually do to you? That actually lets self-doubt enter into your head. That actually makes you sit there and think about, what is this person saying about me behind my back? That makes you think about, what is that person's true colors? You know, I got wrapped up into social media a couple years ago. I did. I was hard in it. I mean, I was there. Well, I was hard, but I was also hard in it. And I got triggered every day. And I had actually clients in my salon ask me, Anthony, what's wrong with you? You are not the happy-go-lucky person that we knew. And I was just like, oh, just a hard day, just a long day, just a hard day, long day, hard day, long day. And then all of a sudden, I went and I met my man. And I said, you know what? I'm going to disengage myself from social media from November until January 1st. November 1st to January 1st, because I'm too busy in the salon anyways to take care of everything, to be on social media. I'm going to do that. And I know it's funny because I'm here on social media right now. This is how I'm connecting with you. And this is how we're going to have our amazing speaker, Maren Pinder, in here with us, is through social media. But that's how come I made the Sass and Science page, so that people that actually want to engage in a positive or a intellectual or a educational way of thoughts rather than the attacking, I invite everybody always to it. But when I disengaged from that social media, I realized my whole new world was out there. Aladdin came in with his carpet because he got a furry chest. So, you know, Aladdin, Daniel, my man, y'all know who I'm talking about. He got that furry chest with his magic carpet, and he flew me away and showed me a whole new world. You know, it's about making sure that what you read and the people that you are surrounded by are actually lifting you up and not pulling you down. So with that being said, these are just some images that I want you to see. Like, how real is that? Like, seriously, how many times have you looked at your post and you have been like, oh my God, you know, so-and-so has, you know, 520 million likes and hearts and comments and stuff like that, but I have 16. What am I doing wrong? Because we've been programmed for social media to point the finger at you. We've been programmed for social media to sit there and say, this is your fault. You're not engaging hard enough. You're not doing enough. You don't purchase enough. Why do you think every single time you search something on Google, all of a sudden it's in your Facebook feed or it's in your Instagram feed? Why do you think? Because they know you're looking for something. So even they are part of the compare and the despair. They are part of, well, they're looking for this. They haven't purchased it. So we're going to remind them to constantly search for it and to constantly look for this. Because if they haven't purchased it, either they don't want it and we're going to convince them that they want it, or they can afford it, which means that then you're going to feel bad about yourself. So I'm going to get off my soapbox and I'm going to bring on this gorgeous, beautiful mother of three, a stunning wife, a gracious host. She is, I'm going over her because she's my sister-in-law. But no, she actually is an amazing person. If you ever get to meet Maren in person, you will understand exactly what I mean, because she is extremely like, hello, like, how are you? Come here. Open arms. Let me give you a beverage and a drink. And you're seriously, when I first met her, I was like, bitch, what drugs is she on? Because whatever she's on, I want. But then I realized that that's actually just her. So let's see a couple comments. I see it. I like it. I want it. I got it. My man. Max says, and they are listening via your microphone. 100%. They absolutely are. JC Ray, hey girl, hey. JC is actually going to be joining us next week. Miss Crystal Michaels. Brad, I am here. Sorry, I'm late, honey. Don't ever be sorry, Brad. Don't ever be late. You working. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to bring this fabulous, stunning person on with me. Please welcome Marin Pinder. Hello. How are you?
What? I love hearing you describe me. That's like the highlight of my day.
You're like, if I ever feel bad about myself, I'm just going to call Anthony and be like, how did you describe? Actually, girl, you can just go back on YouTube. Just go on YouTube and you could just watch the video. Just go to minute 20.
That is the type of social media I need to be watching. You describing me. Yes.
Exactly. JC Ray says, highlight that lip queen. Bitch, of course, yes. So how are you doing?
I am doing pretty good. Just listening to you. I'm like, I don't even know why he has me on here. You are dead on with everything that you were talking about social media and compare and despair. I was just nodding my head along the whole time you were talking.
Well, I think it's just one of those things, like, honestly, and I hate to say this, but I think I'm having you on here because you are a professional. This is what you are licensed in. This is what your degree is in. This is your day-to-day life. Besides being a mom, which that's got to be hard enough, and you've got to raise these children correctly, but you're also dealing with clients and trying to keep them to where they live a better life. So, but, I also think that once you hit a certain age, like for me, when I hit 35, the light switch turned on. It was like, click. And I was like, oh, I see all of you, everybody. But, I definitely, I love having you on because, I've told your brother this 100 times. I was just like, I love your sister because I can sit here and I can just talk to her and I never feel like she's ever judging me. And you don't judge anybody.
I try not to.
Seriously, you try not to. We all do, but
everybody does it. But being aware of it and being able to say, "I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go there." That's
exactly.
Strive to.
It's. I think it's a better way of life.
Well, and that's part of the whole social media thing too. Is we judge people and we feel like people are judging us and. I feel like, we judge people in the areas we feel insecure about or we have self-doubt about. And so oftentimes when we judge people, we end up feeling worse about ourselves. So really when we try and stop judging people or change it from how could that person do that or how could they be that way? And instead try and just say, what must they be going through or what must it be like to be in that situation can change our perspective of, hate or shame to trying to understand instead.
Right. So what is something that you would say is one of the worst things that somebody that is on social media could actually engage in? Like, what would you say is like, if they're having a bad day, yes, people have friends on social media, so they reach out, and I see that all the time. Oh, I'm having a bad day. Can somebody just help me? Of course, but do you think that that's a healthy way of doing it? Or do you think of actually picking up a phone and being like, so-and-so, I need to talk to you?
I would say picking up the phone and having that person that is in that safety network with you, because going on social media when you're having a bad day, when you're feeling bad about yourself, it's just going to make it worse. And again, having that, I think too, it just adds fuel to the fire, saying I'm having a bad day and just kind of leaving it that, you see those posts sometimes where it's like, I'm having such a bad day, but they don't go into it and they get all these notifications and likes and say, I'm sorry. You're being validated. You're like, who's going to like this? Who cares about me type of thing. And is that really caring? So if you're really truly having a bad day, I would say stay off of social media unless you're YouTubing like positive self-talk or something or Beyonce. And
right, exactly. Unless you're YouTubing me,
yes,
then it's okay. Then it's okay to go onto YouTube.
And yeah, unless you're going on social media to find some sort of coping or outlet, stay off of it, because it's just gonna, you could have a good day. I've been in a situation where I had such a fun day. 4th of July, for example. I had a fun 4th of July. You go on Facebook, you start seeing other people's 4th of Julys, and you're like, oh, well, maybe mine wasn't that fun. And you start doubting the own fun you had. You're like, well, they look like they had they're on a boat. Shoot, I wasn't on a boat. I was in my driveway. And you just, it spirals. And so you start to feel like, oh, well, was my 4th of July good enough? Was my day good enough? Am I good enough? And you just got to learn to shut it down and be able to say, I am enough. I had a good time. This person could have a good time, and I can have a good time. I don't have to compare.
Now, do you think that that's because of society being that we are so demanding of everybody's attention?
I think that social media kind of just made us able to have everyone's attention. You know, like it's kind of like it's there, and once we get access to something, I think as a society we want it and we crave it. And so now that you have that access to other people's lives and you can share it, you know, on one hand, it's great. You get to catch up with friends and see how everyone's doing, but it can also become toxic if you're on it too often, if you're on it too much.
So like one thing that like I'm gonna say, and I hope you don't mind that I spill a little bit of your business, but I know you're on Snapchat, and like your Snapchats, I think you basically send to just your friends or your family. Like it's kind of like a, hey, just checking in with you, look what we're doing, you know?
Yeah, I have my friends list is just like my friends that are on.
Right. Do you think that it's toxic or bad for people to have that number comparison in the sense of, you know, like Facebook? Okay, so Facebook, friends top out at 5,000. If you have 5,000 people that you are friends with, you can follow them, but you cannot add them as a friend. And I actually know people that will go through and be like, well, how many people is liking this person? How many people is liking this person? Oh, how am I going to get that many people to like me? Instagram is even worse, you know, because Instagram, you can buy followers. You can buy followers on Instagram. Let's just talk about that really quick. But yeah, so do you think that comparing the actual friend numbers and when you get a friend request, you just automatically accept it is worse, or do you think it's better?
I think it depends on your intentions. Right. So like for you, you're an entertainer and you want to be out there. So having more friends and you want your voice to be heard, having more friends allows you to have that platform. Mm-hmm. If you're doing it as a sense of, I want to have more friends. It makes me feel better about myself to have all these people, even though they're people you don't know, then that is a problem. I feel like for me, if I'm sitting there just adding random people because I want them to see what I'm doing, I'm like, I'm not an entertainer. I'm not really anybody who is in a position to want followers on my Facebook. So why am I doing that? Then that would be what am I looking for? Gotcha.
Now, would you say that, you know, you being a licensed clinical social worker, that since social media has gotten so strong that you see more depression, that you see more people coming to you looking for the way to feel better about themselves, but it always links back to people comparing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say regardless of what, so, you know, some people come in for anxiety or depression, or they're having an marital issue. Honestly, whatever the problem is, I feel like you can always circle back to how you feel about yourself and how you communicate with others. Like, bottom line, even, you know, if it's two completely different reasons why people came in, we end up talking about how they feel about themselves, and then how they feel like they're supposed to be, whether it's, you know, a societal norm or within their family, like a familial norm, or just some idea that they have in their own head of who they think they should be and who they are. We're constantly comparing ourselves to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Max says, I think one of the saddest things is having to see friends say bad things on social media that you never expected them to say. And I think for me, Max, you know, I see that a lot. And I think that comes at a point where in today's world, we are always under an attack. That, I mean, I'm not just talking social media. Like, I'm talking about the news, you know, driving down the street, the billboards, you know, and I know this is a touchy subject for some people, but some people are pro-life and some people are pro-abortion, you know, and there's, of course, in Florida, they are like wildfire everywhere about, you know, the beating heart and everything like that. So that's even attacking, you know, and then especially now with the pandemic, we got something invisible attacking us. So I think that people are so on edge. You know, what are ways that you think that people could actually de-stress themselves?
Well, I think one of the ways is to be off of social media or give yourself, like, what's worked for me is I will be like, you know what, if I find myself on it a lot, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to delete the app. I'm not going to delete my Facebook, but I'm going to delete the app because nobody gets on their laptop. They just get to use their phone.
Right.
And I'll just be like, I'm not turning it back on until Sunday. Sunday, I'll get on Facebook as much as I want. Or if I have to pull out my laptop, I'll get on it. But I'm not going to have the app on my phone. And honestly, you feel so much stress because you're not worried about what other people are saying, or am I staying up to date with it? Am I doing enough? Am I being enough? All of those things. We look at it, and yes, we can say Facebook and stuff is for, like staying in touch with people. But what we're really doing is looking, we're going, oh, she's doing that. Oh, well, I haven't done that. Or am I doing this right? Or, well, she's doing it this way. My way might be right too, but she's doing it differently. And so now, again, we go back into that constant comparing, and it boils down to thinking, are we enough? And so staying off social media, I think, is or limiting your news, picking certain news channels that you like or a news website or whatever, and say, I'm going to get on it once a day, and that's it. And just kind of having that structure for yourself.
Gotcha. And so going back to Max's question about, you know, bad things on social media that you never expected them to say, is it good? Like let's just say, I would never expect for you to be judging anybody, right? I said that earlier. And all of a sudden I see you on Facebook going on a strong, like, oh, da, 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 and you're completely judging somebody, right? Should I come to you or should I ignore it? You know what I mean? Like, what's healthy for me?
I think only you can answer that. So if you are in a position where you're like, okay, it's kind of like, if you want to open the door, you got to be willing to come in. It's just like when someone says, how are you doing? And we expect them to go, oh, we're fine. And I'm fine. And they go, God, I've had a really awful day. I could really use someone to talk to. And you're like, wasn't really expecting you to say that to me. It's the same thing. So if you're prepared for someone to come back and go, hey, you know, I'm so glad you said that. I really have been having a horrible time. Then message them. But I would say maybe private message them. A lot of time we like to call each other out on Facebook. I would say private. It's more vulnerable to call them or private message them and say, hey, that doesn't sound like you. Like, are you all right?
Right. Yeah. The dragging that happens. Honey, listen, in the gay world, in the LGBTQ plus world, it is disgusting how much we come for people. It is gross. It is horrible.
You need to have boundaries there too.
I'm going to let you go into my world for a minute. Look at my social media and you're like, oh my God. You'd be like, bitch, I'm a billionaire. I bill all these people. So, all right. So we are going to ask you again to go in and do. Oops, I think I'm pausing on here, but do a bunch of hearts, and share the feed so that we can get that algorithm up there again. Well, there we go. Algorithms. You know, the comparing and the despairing, because I'm like, okay, and I've done it even on these videos. You know, I'd be like, well, how come that video only got 600 views, but this one got 1.7 thousand views. Like, what, like, I compare that, and that's on me, sharing and stuff like that. So, another question that we have, Stephen Darnell Sussmans Jr. says, hey, Daniel Markovich and Baron say, hey, how's your head? Your brother says, hi. And then he also asks, what if you aren't self-aware enough to know you're using it as an escape? Someone that could possibly be in denial.
Well, if you don't see it as a problem, is it a problem? So it doesn't really become a problem until, I guess, you have to realize that, or say, hey, like, this isn't healthy, or I'm being on it too long. So part of that is keeping the first thing to do to be self-aware is keep track of your behaviors, keep track of your thoughts. So if you're saying, hey, is Facebook negatively impacting me? Write down your mood before you get on Facebook, and write down your mood when you get off of it, and see what changes, how long you've been on it. So that's kind of how you can build that self-awareness when it comes to it. And it's okay to have that as a distraction. And I see someone, or Brad put, I use video games. I encourage people to have that outlet and have an escape. The difference between it being an escape and it being a problem is, are you using it so much that you're avoiding? Or is it a distraction, or are you using it to avoid a problem, or avoid the real world, or avoid talking to somebody face to face? So you don't want to use a distraction as a coping skill all of the time, because eventually you do need to confront whatever it is you're trying to distract yourself from.
Okay, so what are, seriously, what do you think are some healthy ways for people to distract themselves? Like, here's my thing, and I'm not saying anything bad about you, Brad, at all, so please do not take this as an attack at all, because I'm not. But for me, if I did video games as an escape with ADHD, I think that would trigger my ADHD. And also it would trigger my waist getting larger than it already is. Because I'd be like, oh, she died, I need to go ahead and eat a chip. Oh, she died, I'm going to eat another chip, But, what are some other ways? Like, somebody, I know exercising is a huge sense of endorphins. Yep. But then here we go again with compare and despair syndrome. If you go to the gym and you see somebody that's all rough, and then you go in there and you're not like that, how is a way that we can mentally switch our brain? Like, how can we, let's go off the social media.
So
just in general, what's a way that we could switch?
So I think two things. One would be practicing empathy with ourselves. So being able to say, I think I talked about this last time, is owning our feelings, identifying, gosh, I wish, it's okay to say, like, oh, I wish I looked like her. I wish I had that, or, I'm not that. But being self-aware of it and being able to then practice gratefulness. So being able to say, like, oh, I look at that skinny bitch over there. I wish I looked like her. But then keeping ourselves in check and going, you know what? I'm grateful for the body I have. I'm grateful that I'm at the gym. I'm grateful that I made it here today, and being able to practice that. So I would say, whatever it is you're comparing yourself about, whatever it is you're creating self-doubt around, is practicing empathy with yourself and practicing grateful. So anytime those thoughts sneak into your mind, first we got to be aware that it's happening, and then being able to say, hey, no, I'm grateful for my day today. I'm grateful for this. And every time that happens, we, just practice kind of retraining our brain to have that grateful thought or that positive thought instead of the thought of comparing.
Always have to try to find that silver lining. So really quick, your brother wants to know what I want from Chipotle, so since he's watching, and I can't type it out. Babe, I would like a bowl with carnitas. I would like brown rice. I would like pinto beans and black beans, two in the boop. I would like fajita veggies. I would like guac, cheese, corn salsa, regular salsa, the tomatillo, the green stuff, and that's it.
That's all. That's all.
That's it. And chips. Chips and guac as well. Let's see. So basically just learning to turn our brains, switch our brains, changing the channel.
Yeah. But also, it's kind of like this balance. So I feel like what I'm going to say is going to sound contradictory, but again, it's owning, it's okay to feel those feelings, of wanting to compare or being sad about something. Like, we want to own that feeling. We don't want to have to, say, oh, stop thinking that. You shouldn't feel that way. I don't like the should-haves. I don't like it when people say, even to themselves, that you shouldn't feel a certain way. Own that feeling of, it's okay to be sad about something. We talk about, Brene Brown, she talks about comparative suffering. And that's how we actually start to even compare our suffering to others. Well, I'm really upset. I lost my job. Well, at least you didn't lose your house. Oh, now I feel bad about losing my job because it could be worse. And it could be, I could be homeless, or I could be on the streets. So being able to say, it's okay. Have that empathy for yourself. Be able to say, it sucks that I lost my job. But you know what? I am also grateful that I still have a home. Maybe I have some savings. So it's that balance again of being empathetic with ourselves and the feelings that we have. And when we do that, we allow ourselves to have empathy for other people. And then again, also tying that gratefulness with it but I am grateful for what I do have, and not let yourself get down that spiral of negative thinking and negative patterns that can really lead to sometimes dangerous places.
Now, green salsa or pico? What's the difference? Both, babe.
When in doubt, just get a side of everything.
Right? He says green salsa or pico. I want both. He's like, you confuse me now. I want the regular tomato salsa and the green, because I don't want the hot because it'll flame out my ass in the morning. So I want the middle of the road, so I could feel. Oh well, no, because it's 7:45. Just get me the regular salsa, because I'll have the indigestion. I'll have the indigestion if I eat too spicy at night, at this late at night. So yeah, so just the regular pico, babe. Okay, thank you. He's watching in the other room. So Kyle Wetter says, stranger danger, that's not Eric. So Kyle and Mark are in South Carolina. They're two amazing people. No, this is Marin Pinder. She was on our show when we were speaking about mental health. Eric is busy at work, so he's not able to come on. And he had a really busy weekend as well. Max says, you are giving me life. I'm assuming that was possibly about my order or about you, Marin. I don't know. So are you, as a somebody that does give mental health advice, are you seeing a rise in like a certain age category?
I am starting to see more. I see more. So before I was seeing a lot of kids, I'm starting to see a lot more like middle-aged adults, like 30s, really teenagers up until like their 30s or 40s is who I see. I'm starting to see more men in therapy, which I think is really awesome.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed having them come in, because a lot of times, again, it's about that being able to express themselves and their feelings, and a lot of times men really don't want to do that. Not to stereotype, but they don't. So I'm glad
it's not. I don't think that's stereotyping at all, Mary. I think that honestly, this year we're seeing a lot of changes in a lot of different ways. And I think that, people in our parents' age and previous to that were taught that women are emotional and steel magnolias. Men are made of steel and women are the soft and sensitive. So a man is never supposed to speak about their feelings. They're not supposed to do those things, and with evolution in change of the demographics of gender identity, of gender expression, non-binary, I think we're seeing a whole new swirl of where it is safe and okay for somebody that identifies as male or that is just masculine to speak about their feelings.
Oh yeah, I mean, I had a client recently. We started talking about your meta emotions, so your emotions that you feel about your emotions. So, and we started talking about.
Wait, hold on. What it's called a meta emotion.
Yes, it's your feelings about your feelings. So, for example, like a guy who feels stupid for feeling sad. They don't like you don't like to feel sad. It makes me feel ashamed. It makes me feel embarrassed that I'm sad about this. It makes me feel weak to feel that I feel weak that you made me feel angry about what you did. That would be an example of that. So sometimes it's being able to identify those feelings.
Oh, girl.
It's like peeling another layer of the onion.
It's an onion. An onion has layers.
And that's what we had a session talking about that because he didn't want to cry. He was talking about being upset. And I'm like, well, he's like, I was so upset I could have cried. I'm like, well, why didn't you? And he's like, ugh. And I'm like, it might have made you feel better. And he's like, no. I'm like, well, how do you feel about crying? He's like, well, that would have just made me feel stupid. And I was like, yeah, it's biological for you to cry. So we talked about that. And I think being able to identify those feelings can really, truly help you get down to the bottom of what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And how do I get through it?
So Kyle says, oh, that makes complete sense because he does that. But he also says she would not like for me to be on her couch after talking to me. She's going to need to go to therapy.
Well, we all need therapy, so it's okay, even me.
How does somebody that is in the mental health industry, is it one of those things like you're like, oh, I can do that, I got this, or you're like, no, I need to go talk to somebody?
Oh, no, definitely. I need to go talk to somebody because it's one of those things where I'm human. So I can know this information. I can know all of the reasons behind why we do the things we do or what drives us to do certain things, but I'm still going to do it. I still compare myself to others. I'll still, go, oh, she was in my graduating class and she's doing what? Like, am I good enough to be doing what I'm doing? Or mom stuff. Oh, the mom shame, oh, well, that mom friend's doing that. I don't do that. I let my kid do that. Am I a bad mom? It happens all the time. So just because I know why or what I should be doing doesn't mean I do it because I'm a human being too.
Okay. It's kind of just like on the hairdresser world. Everybody asks me, do you cut your own hair? I'm like, hell no. I'm like, no, I don't cut my own hair. I'm like, no. I bullshit you to tell you that I know how to cut your hair. I make you think that it actually looks good, but I really fucked it up. But that's okay, Just kidding. Kyle has another comment. So listen, this is what I cannot wait for. So if the higher powers above allow Labor Day to happen where we are actually allowed to socialize, Daniel and I are going camping, and we're going with Kyle and his fiance, Mark, to a campground in Georgia. And I have met Mark a couple times, and I've been around him. I've never met Kyle face-to-face, but we've just social media or Instagram, instant messaged each other, and then we've had a couple, phone calls and stuff like that. I can't wait to meet this bitch in person because he's just hilarious. He's I love train wrecks because I'm an automobile wreck. He's a train wreck. I'm the automobile that got stuck on the tracks that he wrecked into. So, so he says, so he's got a lot of comments. He's a chatty Cathy. See, for me as a male, I'm so more prone to open up to a female over a male. I wouldn't go to a male therapist because I'd feel judged versus a female therapist. I think that's
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was just reading something and that spoke to that, and it was about kids, and it was talking about like helping people learn emotional intelligence, and it was saying specifically for boys that it's not necessarily enough for their mother to help them be emotionally intelligent, but they also need to see their father or their male role model practice emotional intelligence and practice being emotional, because that's what they're going to look to more than their mom saying, it's okay to cry, it's okay to be upset. But then they see their male role model never cry, never be upset. So they're going to hear me saying that, but they're going to see, well, dad doesn't do that. Someone's told me that, but the men in my life don't act that way. So I think maybe that's why men do feel more comfortable being emotional around women, because they know it's a safe place to be emotional. You see women being more emotional.
Okay, so that makes sense. That it's my program. So it's going back to so Kyle also says, and maybe +1 #daddy yes, and Daniel says, oh, Daniel, you can look, you touch. And Kyle says, I know I don't have mommy issues. Lord. See, this is why I can't wait till I meet it. I already told him, because Mark, his fiance, goes running like every morning, like 5 miles. He's this like really like compact, like tight, like, nice body, everything like that. Your brother's been weightlifting. He's got all this like muscle showing and stuff like that. And me and Kyle, and then we have a couple of other friends that are going. We're going to be the larger in charge bitches sitting there being like, cool boy, need a cocktail. While Kyle and Jenna are walking around being like, look at us, look at us, look at us, look at us. We're going to sit there and give commentary as we're walking. We are going to compare, but we're going to despair them, not us.
It's funny you should say that. When Danny, my husband, goes running, he'll be like, hey, I'm going to go for a run. I'm like, oh, like, I'm not really feeling that great about myself today. If you run, it's just going to make me feel worse.
I don't run. I don't run. I'll ride a bike. But you don't want to see a 300-pound man running down the street, because that means that there's zombies or something's attacking him, a swarm of murder hornets. Somebody without a mask. Something. If you see a 300-pound man run, just saying. Just saying. If you see me run, go. Get the hell out. Because if I'm running, there's a reason. I'll weightlift. I'll do a row machine. I'll do an assault bike. But if you see me running, get the fuck out of the way, because who knows what the hell's coming. So just a real quick recap. Would you say that this saying, and I remember it's a very big, huge saying that I heard a lot, actually, when I first met you, I was like, what the hell is this? Is huge in comparing and despairing.
Oh, yeah.
Anxiety that what does that say? Anxiety that an exciting or interesting event may currently be happening somewhere.
Yes, absolutely. We're always worried something better is going on somewhere. And again, it's practicing that gratefulness of, yes, something better could be going on somewhere, but I'm happy where I am. What's happening in my life is enough, and I can enjoy that.
So that goes to JOMO. The joy of missing out, feeling content with staying in and disconnecting as a form of self-care.
And I had not heard JOMO before you brought it up to me, and I'm like, what is JOMO?
When I brought that up to you the other day, you were like, JOMO, I haven't heard that. I'm like, because I do my research. Because I don't come on here ignorant.
What is JOMO?
JOMO. I'm like, I got that degree now. Thank you, Google. Thomas Athan says, I, as a father of 3 sons and 1 grandchild, I try my hardest as men themselves show their feelings. I cry, baby.
That is awesome.
Yay!
Thank you, Thomas.
That makes me happy. Yes, because I think that's one thing that's missing in this world, is I think that people don't actually speak about their emotions enough, and I think it's because they are seeing so many people that are strong dominant personalities that they're like, well, I don't ever see that person crying on social media. So they're comparing themselves to them and they're being despaired by it because of the fact that they're like, well, I don't see them doing this. I can't do this. It's basically your highlight and your blooper reel. Nobody's going to show you the blooper reel.
Yeah, that's like
show you the highlight.
We'll be watching a cartoon, and my dad is always like, they never show them going to the bathroom. I'm like, Dad, that doesn't mean they're not going. That's just a weird thing to say. Same with Facebook. Just because people are only posting the best part of their lives doesn't mean that they don't have their own strife that they're going through, or difficulties, or own insecurities. It's there. They're just not showing you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's there. It's just they're not going to show it to you because that's vulnerability.
And vulnerability is uncomfortable. Nobody likes it.
Vulnerability is uncomfortable. See, and I love, and this sounds so bad of me, but I love pulling people's vulnerability out of them. Like, seriously, like, I will dive in, and I am that bitch that will tell you, I don't sugarcoat anything. If you ask me a question, I will give you an answer. And I want to pull out your vulnerability because I want you to know that you're safe with me. Like, I'm not one of those people that goes and I take your information and then I like flood it everywhere. Because, honey, we've talked about it before. I've got so many secrets on people, it's not even funny. Like, I know so much shit, but it's because people have, have hid to me and confided in me, and I would never want to break that trust. But that meant that they were vulnerable and that they were comfortable. And so because I have been vulnerable and uncomfortable, I never want anybody to feel vulnerable and uncomfortable around me. So I pull out of them and be like, you're safe, I got you.
And that's good that you do that. And you made me think of something. Being vulnerable is when you're vulnerable, it needs to be in a safe place. So sharing your most vulnerable parts of yourself on social media is not being vulnerable. That is oversharing. And it's being vulnerable is being able to be with someone who you think is a safe person and saying, I want to share this with you because you've earned it. That person that you share those vulnerable parts of you with, they should also be mutually vulnerable. They should have that trust with you. Just sharing it with 5,000 people on Facebook, that is not vulnerability.
That's attention seeking.
Yes.
Or
you might think that it's being vulnerable, but overshare. Sometimes we say, you know what? If I just share all this about me the first moment I meet someone, it's out there. And if they reject me, they reject me. If they don't, then that's fine. And oftentimes when we overshare like that, people are like, oh, like, why are they doing it? It makes us kind of standoffish.
Right.
Because it seems forced. It's not an authentic, vulnerable moment of, hey, I feel this way and I want to share this with you because I trust you and you're safe. So
Kyle has a question. I do have a question for her. Does she see people come in a D? Girl, I only know one thing about D. Come in, and he didn't hit the end. And pretty much talk shit, but not against one, but like shooting the shit to get their feelings out. I don't know. I'm bad at wording, figure it out for me. So basically, I think he's saying, are you seeing one coming in that's just like wanting to just like talk to kind of just get their feelings out rather than talk about, my dog died, just.
Well, it depends. So, someone can come in and say, like, I had this specific traumatic experience or this specific stressor in my life that I'm trying to kind of unravel and work through. And then sometimes people will come in and just be like, I'm so stressed. All these things are going on in my life, and I don't know how to work through them. I don't know what to do anymore. So sometimes it's a generalized specific event that they're working through. And other times it's more of, okay, there's a pattern going on in your life. And so we might focus, one day or, one session on a specific topic, but overall it's identifying and labeling your feelings, talking about your feelings and then how to work through them.
Gotcha.
I always say it's not about getting over your feelings, because when we get over something, we're jumping over it. you can't work through your feelings that way. You gotta go through them to get to the other end.
So it's kind of like the what is it? 12, there's 12 steps of grieving, 12 steps of recovery. There's basically almost like 12 steps of every feeling out there, because you've got to feel the joy, the happiness, the grief, the sadness, the joy, the whatever the steps are. You know what I'm talking about. So, well, Maren, we are coming to the end of the hour. Does anybody have any questions for Maren other than Kyle? No, just kidding, Kyle.
I love all your questions, Kyle.
Does anybody have any questions for Maren before we close out? Please start typing away. If not, we're going to just kind of go on to our merry ways. I'm going to go eat my Chipotle, which means AKA I'm not bottoming tonight. And neither is he, because Chipotle makes you go poo. So I love that I'm talking about this and you're his sister.
That's why I just keep cracking up. I'm like, oh, I love it.
You're like, yes.
I learn more about my brother through you than from my brother.
I know you do. I know you do. And that's like how I always tell you, if you're making, make sure you put me in the conversation if we're making plans.
Oh yeah, that was great the other day.
Yeah. You can end the broadcast without showing us this outfit. Oh, you can't. Oh, girl, you've seen this outfit, honey. This outfit, she's all. Also, I'm not padded or anything. You've seen. I'll just show you the top. Boom. See, you've seen this outfit. You've seen this outfit.
I'm in sweatpants from the waist down, so I don't get to talk about my outfit.
Well, Maren, thank you so much for joining us again. Stay safe, be well. Please give love to the kids and, of course, your husband. Tell him that we appreciate him out there protecting all of us, and also just being the detective he is. And thank you so much for joining us, and I will speak to you later.
Thank you. Bye. I love being here.
Bye. All right. So, everybody, that was Maren Pinder. She's a licensed clinical social worker, and she was here talking about compare and despair, but also how comparing and despairing is so attached to mental health. I mean, it really and truly is. There's a quote that I want to put up that I saw, and I just absolutely loved it. And it says, by Denise Jacobs, "The irony is that when we focus so much on what we lack, we can't see what we have in abundance that the other person doesn't have." I'm going to repeat that. I want you guys to let this sink in. The irony is that when we focus so much on what we lack, we can't see what we have in abundance that the other person doesn't have. Those are enough words right there. So, I would like to thank you for joining us this Monday, the 6th of July at 7 p.m. to discuss Compare and Despair. This week, I am both the sass and the science. So I'm getting educated. So you guys are keeping me educated, because I'm having to come up with all of these topics and the research and everything like that. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for keeping me accountable, for keeping myself educated to come in here and actually talk about, subjects, so that I don't look like a fool or all of a sudden get a, bitch, you told me that I could put this on my eyes as cucumbers on my eyes to make them rested, but it made me blind, which that won't happen. It'll actually be really good for your bags underneath your eyes, just an FYI. Remember, be safe, be good to one another, wear your fucking mask. That's all I'm asking. Just wear a mask. Because this is how it's going to break down. This is how. A, I want to go camping in September. B, I want to go and perform and be at Gay Days for Halloween in October. C, I would like to see my family for Thanksgiving. And D, I would like to see my family for Christmas. So if you possibly be uncomfortable for a little, 30 minutes when you're out bebopping around and put a mask on, I would greatly appreciate you doing that. Because even though you were tested and you were negative, unless you went directly to your house and stayed in your house and ordered everything in and never left your house, you are already at potential of contracting the virus. So what that means is that if you are going out there as a Karen because it is above your right to put a mask on, or because it's stopping your breathing, which that is bullshit because it does not stop your breathing, because it is proven it does not stop your breathing. There's videos all over the world, or all over social media that you can go compare how it does not affect your breathing. It creates humidity, so it actually creates you to actually have breathing capability in your nose, sis. There we go on that one. But just wear your fucking mask, because if you came in contact, again, you might be asymptomatic and you not even know. But somebody that is not going to be asymptomatic is going to get it, and they have the potential of, we don't know what is going to happen 10 years from now. We don't know how this is going to have affected people 10 years from now with their health. I personally feel that there's going to be a huge jump in people with emphysema and COPD that have never smoked or been anywhere toxic fumes or anything like that in their life. I think it's going to be a condition from COVID-19. So if you just wear a mask, wash your hands, and stay away from people, just, talk to them from across the room. No hugging, no kissing, no swap and spit, no hooking up, unless it's a hookup that is doing the same thing you are doing, which is staying at home. So this is Bear Out, Say Bear Out. Next week, please join us at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sass and Science on Facebook and or YouTube. Make sure you are liking the page, following, and subscribing on both Facebook and YouTube at Sass and Science. Next week, we are discussing, and we have special guest star Crystal Michaels coming on. She is beautiful. If you've never seen her, you're missing out. But we are talking about life is the drive.